Beautiful. Okay. So what we're going to do today is, if you remember last time we talked about this application to do, and I said, as simple as this application is, and it is really simple one, okay? In one hand, on the other hand, it is very nice to learn from it. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that you are actually have all the elements you need in a web page. Why is that? You have a place, you put data, okay? You have a place, you click a button, you send it, it goes to the server, it goes to the view take it, put it in the database. That's very important element on every web page. Every web page, every application has to have the ability to send information to the server, wherever it is. Most likely it's going to be on Amazon, Google. All those companies have. I host mine on Amazon. You are exercising and you're using PyCharm, and PyCharm making it like you have your own host. This is like you are a web server. You see, this is why the address is like that, okay? And that's one function, to be able to write something, submit it. You submit it to the web server, the view take it, read what it is in there, take it and put it in the right table. Stage number one. Then we said, the other things is to be able to pull data from the database, send it back to the server, to the user, and the user in the template can present it. Okay, remind you. Let's take another example. Okay, today we learn the DBillings app. Okay, that's what we're going to do. It's an application that I made specifically. Take it a little one step further. In fact, if you remember last time I mentioned the code, if you remember, let me even write it down here, okay, for code. And that's acronym for create, meaning making a line in the database. Retrieve, it's to retrieve the data from the database. Those two are done in this application. Now, updating and delete, we didn't really show in this application. We're going to do it today. So now when I'm sending it, pay attention. This is going to go to the database and eventually going to be pulled and be in the bottom right here. When you click it, bingo, it works, and here it is. Really nice. By the way, put the date automatically. That's what we did last time. What we're going to do today, we're going to go to another application called Billings. And this one is really nice. Let me show the whole application. Now we go into the detail. How did we make it? Okay. So, and now we'll do how we did it. Just I appreciate if you guys can close the videos. I will mute everybody. If somebody wants to talk, just feel free to open your microphone. Okay.
Excuse me, doctor. Doctor, we can't hear you. No.
How about now? Do you hear me better now? You hear me now?
Yes, doctor.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, I see that my microphone was off. Wow, I apologize. Let me start all over. Okay. Let's start as if. Okay. Let me go over what I talked about so far. Sorry about it. Sorry about it. So let me start all over. Let me just also close this one. Okay. We said last time, can you hear me now? Everybody is happy? Megan, is that
Yes,
fine
doctor.
now? Good, thank you. Okay. When we are in the main, last time, we went over the to-do application. This is really one of my favorite mini application because it teaches a very important element, which is how you put a data in a page. Okay, after you put it in, and you can submit it. When you click on the button submit, we saw last time, this page knows how to take the whatever I write here. Let's say my name is Amos. Okay, I type something. In every web application, I would like to have the ability, after I write something, to be able to submit it. And after I submit it, it will go to the server. Server means a computer that has the database, has all the code. In your case, we're using everything on your computer. We installed everything on your computer. How do you know that? By the fact that when I open in the pie chart, when I write that command, it shows me 127.0.0.1. That means your computer. Using a port 8010, don't worry about it now. It's really not crucial in this point. What's really important is to pay attention that it says to do. That's why. Why is it to do? Pay attention. If I go to the main, there is nothing. This is the main page. But when I get to the program, and we went over that in previous sessions, it will put it to do and it give me this web page. Okay. Now, when I write something here, let's say my name is Amos Paranes. Okay, in every web page, you should be able to write something, okay, or click something that does something. But the most important thing is, I want to send this information to the server, a computer that has the database, and the button submit does just that. And we saw that last time. When I click on it, it's going to take the information in here through the internet to here on my computer. Of course, it's not going to do it. It's going to send it right in my computer. But the way it works, like an Academy CD or any other website, Amazon that you use, when you click submit, it's going to take the information, send it over the internet. It gets to the view, and the view read the information as we saw last time and put it in the database. It creates a new row. And after I create a new row, I would like this application to be able also to read from the database, read the information in the table, send it back to me, and I can present it. So you will see there will be another line right in the bottom here with whatever I wrote here. So let's submit it, and bingo, it really did. It sent it to the database. How do I know I did it? Because actually he added another row and he's reading everything from the table. That's what we did last time. I love this program. The simplest you can think about, but it has 80% of the cycle of every, that you can say the cycle of every application. And that's why I like it. You will see we're going to repeat a lot of what we did in the application we're going to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about another application called Billings. When I click on it, I got to this application. This application has two sub-menus, one for customers and one for items. By the way, in every business, you will have customers, you will have inventory. Items is really your inventory. And when a customer come, a new one, you would like to be able to add him. So let me open this screen for a second. This screen has the 4 major important functionality that a web page must have. And here we're demonstrating it. By the way, I will take the opportunity this time to teach you a little different techniques than the one we saw so far was in the view. But the basic important lessons for today is, this is a mini application that allow me to add a new customer. After I will add it, it will be just another row in this table. Secondly, if I want to view information of a user, let's say I made a mistake or whatever it is. By the way, here it's a Jimmy 1. It's a mistake. Maybe the 1 shouldn't be there. So I can view the information when I click on it, or I can update it, or I can delete it. All those 4 rules: create, retrieve, update, or delete. Those 4 elements are beautifully organized in this mini application. Okay, let me do example and then we'll play with it. Okay, let me add another one. Okay, let me add another one. Create, you open a new page. I write a name. Let's say Fatu Jackson. I'm just making it up. Okay, I'm just making it up. I'm submitting the data. By the way, is taking this data, is going to put it in a table, and we will talk about the tables. We'll go over everything. Okay, but I just want you to absorb the functionality from the business point of view. I just put a new customer in my business. I click submit data. Oh, it did submit it. How do I know? It's telling me, look, this is really the information that you put. That's called a view. I see the information I put. I want to go back to the list. I go back to the list. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. In the bottom, you just added another customer. This is the way that I usually add customers. I need a place to click create, a place to put the information, and after the information is there, I can confirm that I didn't make any mistake, and finally, to get it as one of my customers in the list. Let's say I made a mistake when I typed in. Let's say it was Jimmy. Okay, Jimmy shouldn't have a 1 in the end. I would like to update the information. So when I click on this button update, I get the screen that I can change the information. Okay, I change the information and I want this screen to be able to update the information beautifully. You can tell this is the same screen that I got after I created the first one, Fatu. And this one really showing me that the information is correct. When I go back to the list, it's going to show me again, but this time the Jimmy name is correct. So we created, we updated. When we click on view, let's view Mildred, okay? We view her information. This is a screen to view. I don't change anything in the view. View just really looking at the data. Many times it's very useful. Another functionality, I want to delete somebody, okay? Let's delete me, okay? Amos Baranis. I want to delete the record. I click on delete. Oh, by the way, this is a very important. Maybe I clicked by mistake. Many times it can happen to us. So we would like a mini screen in the middle that allow us to make sure that the user did not click by mistake. Could happen to everyone. So if I confirm, it will go ahead and it will delete. If I do cancel, that means, oh, I clicked by mistake. If I click cancel, see what happened, it will go back and it will not do anything. On the other hand, if I click delete and I say confirm, meaning yes, oh, Amos is gone. Is gone from the database. Okay, guys? 4 functions in this application. By the way, this mini but it's really one of the two tables that we have in here. We have the customer, we have items, and you see items is really a duplicate, okay? So, but we want now to explore how is this mini application was built. And this is a good foundation for much more sophisticated stuff. By the way, you can already guess, this is just a regular table, okay? Inside the table, okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. So the number of rows dynamically will be created, but we're having 5 columns. The top is the header of the table. We have 4 buttons. Those buttons has to be very smart way of building them up. Okay, and we will see how we did it. And there's one button standing alone. They look beautiful just because this is really the easy part to make them beautiful. And we're using here a library called Bootstrap. And Bootstrap has many beautiful buttons, links, and a lot of things can make the page look nice. I can make this as a square. I can change the colors and a lot. And that one, let's leave it for the next semester. We talk a little bit more about design. It's the easy, this is really easier, the design. But to be a good designer, it's really hard because you should really understand how HTML is made, how the buttons function, how you move stuff around. So to be a good designer, which know Python, JavaScript, HTML, that's a professional, okay? Jeremiah is very good in the senior student, Michael. All of them really very good, but Jeremiah is really specializing on special effects and he's doing a beautiful job, okay? You can see in Academy City website, there's a lot of things that you have designed. So I can say Jeremiah is not only a designer, he's a programmer that is also a designer. It's a big difference. A lot of people are going to school learning how to design a web page, but they cannot really implement it. And what we're learning in this basic course, the foundation to be a good designer that can also implement the design. Very big difference. Okay, let's go step by step. How did we make that application? Let's go back to the code. And like any other applications, we have application called DBillings. And in the DBillings, like any other application, we have migration, we have template. By the way, this is automatically created. By the way, this is an empty page. You can see, don't worry about it. In Python, you need to put it there. There's special things, very advanced topics, you might need to use it. But 99.9, you never need to use it. It's a signal for Python to say, well, this is a package, okay? But you don't need to worry about that one. Okay, then we have the admin, we have the apps, we have the models. Test, it's really for when you do testing, but I will teach you in a way that if you follow my instruction, you will never need to use it. I think it's a lot of waste of time in many places. There's a professional, by the way, called system auditor or tester, whatever name you want to give them. They fill up a lot of code in that one and they test the application. Theoretically, it's beautiful. Practically, I found it a waste of time. Okay, this is very important. We already know. This is like the navigator, remember? Oh, here we have a little more and we go over all of them, okay? If you look at the to-do, in the to-do, we also had the users and we had only 3 functions. By the way, we didn't really use the third one. I might open it up and talk about it later on. We really only used this one last time. We didn't talk about the members and we did not talk about the draw. I might leave it for the last session. And this is really special stuff that more in the second certificate, okay? For now, like in the to-do application, we have a function we usually do. I many times like to call it index. Sometimes I call it home, many times. Most of the time I do call it home, but many times I call it also an index. And this is the starting point. How do I know it's a starting point? How do we know that this is really the starting point? And you can tell by just simply look at when you go to the main, there's nothing. When you click on the billings, you get the billings. And how do I know what function is going to be activated when there is nothing after the DBillings? Let's see what DBillings is. So this is a good review for you to remember the routing. You must know it by heart. You really should. It's really easy. In the beginning, it's so confusing. But as time goes by, you will find it's so not that hard. If you go to the main URLs, not under the applications, but under the projects, okay, you have a URL. This is a navigator for the applications, one of which is the billings application. This is one. You can tell this one. And what we do when we type the billings after the main, meaning that if I type the billings here, okay, I will go to the application threads, apps, DBillings URLs, meaning I will go to the threads, apps, DBillings, and under the billings URL, and that's the place I will be going to. And when I go there, the first thing she's finding is what do I write after the slash. If I don't put anything after the slash, meaning I'm going to the first one. Okay, I'm going to the first one in the DBillings. So I'm going to the index. Later on, as we know, when I get to the index, and that's what we already have done many times, I get this view. This view is in charge of giving me this page. To convince you, okay, let me do the following. To convince you, if I go here and the only things I put here, it will be very simple. It will show me, if I only do that, it will just go to the main page. Here we go. If I add to it the billings, it will go to the application billings. Yeah, here we go. So those buttons really here, they're really not that sophisticated. They're really just making sure that whatever's supposed to be here will be there. So when I go to the customer, by the way, it will add something. You see, after the billings, it added customers. And that's why I see this page. By the way, if you go into here, you will see that in the URL here, you have customers. You see, there is something called customers. So if I'm adding customer and not empty, it will take me to the page of customers. Okay, and we'll see create customer. By the way, this will be really cool. Let's do that. You see what we get. So please go over it many times until you be expert. Don't be afraid. Okay, instead of customers, I'm going to type there something else. Create customer. I will get a page. Here we go. This is the page of creating. So really all those buttons we're putting in the menu, they are just helping us to nicely navigate through the program. But they're really nothing but making sure that I put the right things in the top here. Okay, so let me remove everything. Go back to the main. And I will use the navigator. I'll click on the billings. It will add here whatever needs to be added. And I am right in here in this place. And when I get to this place, how do you know it's empty? Because the head means beginning, the dollar signs end. Between the beginning and the end, there is nothing. Meaning, if I don't put anything after the billing, it will give me the function index, which I always put in the views. And this part, by now, everybody should be expert. What do we have here? From dot views. What is the dot doing? The dot saying in the same directory that this page, meaning the US page, this page, is look for another page called views. So the other page is this one. And what I want you to do from this page, go import, bring all those things that are inside. Let's see what they are. So if I double click here, I say I have a function called index customer items. There's many. Oh, there's also a class. I haven't talked about this one. I'll talk about it later on. I usually don't like to work this way for many reasons. I always like the functions structure. It's more explicit. Honestly, theoretically, it looks like it's saving you a lot of time. Practically, I found it not really. It might get you even confused, but I must mention it, and I will. So you'll be familiar with it at least, okay? So you'll be at least familiar that some people use in Django the class, which is really when you know what you're doing exactly perfectly, and if it's simple things, that's a good way to use it, but 98% I would say, I usually don't use it. I use functions, okay? And here we go, we have functions. All of those one, I can bring them to use them inside the URLs, okay? So when I'm getting to this point, I want to activate this index function. To be able to activate it, I have to bring it to this page. And by bringing it to this page, I can use it. So when a user use this page, he automatically activating this function, which is it right here. So let's look at this function. It's right here. What this function does, like any other view does, is rendering a template. And we already know about rendering a template. We have seen it in the to-do application, and we know it's very simple. It takes the word render. By the way, that's why you always have it there. You don't even ask questions, you just put the request, and then you put the name of the template. By now, everyone should know where is this one supposed to be. This one is a template, and we have a special place we put it. We put it in DBillings directory. But where is this directory? We already know in every application, we put a directory called templates. Very important to spell it correctly, otherwise Django will not know how to find it. Under which we put another directory, and that directory takes the same name. You can use a different name, but don't. Take my word for it. It will make your life simpler. You won't get confused. Use the same name of the application. Under that, you put all your templates for this application. The first one we're going to use here, it's the index right here. Meaning that really when I'm opening this application, I'm going to get this template and I'm not transferring any variables. Remember last time we talked about the title, I gave you example. I can transfer any, and I might even give an example today. Okay, how do I do that? By the way, in the next one, you will see we will be transferring variable. In fact, we're going to transfer a database, okay, a table, and we'll talk about it. We'll get it. But first of all, this is very simple. I'm sending a template, no variables sent to the template, and let's look at that template. Here we go. This template, very, very simple. And you know me by now, I love to delete everything, okay? We have a block here. We have another block here, okay? And moreover, we're extending the best DBillings. We talked about it a lot in one of the sessions. We usually don't start from scratch. So just to remind you, if I take the whole things out and leave just the last, or just the first row, I should really say, what do I get? Let's see. Go here, refresh. Amazing. I'm getting all this stuff on the left. I'm getting the menu, but I don't get the other things that I usually have in this application. I should have customers and items. They are disappeared. They are not there, okay? And I don't get whatever it's supposed to write here. So let's go and understand the way it works. By the way, this is really for pictures, so I will not go into that for now. But there is 2 blocks, okay? There's 2 blocks here. Let me remove the first block, this one, intentionally, okay? Let me remove that one, and I'll get back to that, okay? Let's see what I see now. By the way, you already know some HTML. This is mean empty page. This one means a title, kind of a nice border title. You can use different numbers, by the way. If you use number 2, it would be smaller. But I have a block here. And this block makes sure that whatever is in there, it will show up right in this area. We talked about it a lot in previous sessions. And on Monday, Brenda and Daniel will go over that again with you, okay? But the idea is, if I want to write something right in the middle here, I will write it in this block, okay? If I want to add something to the toolbar, I will add it to this block. You see, I have a block, says block sub apps toolbar, and I have 2 buttons. And no surprise, if I refresh it now, I'm getting another 2 buttons. We already have covered it in previous sessions, so I'm not going to spend the time on that. And I just will make a comment. If you go to this template, which really should be this template because it's not under the directory DBillings, it's right under templates. And I do recommend always make one like this that is kind of a base for this application. And many times, this one we do it as inheriting or extending a general project base. So let's look at this one shortly. I'm not going to cover it deeply this time, but you should. By the way, you can tell it's extending a base one. And you can tell there are application toolbar and there are sub toolbars that are empty and there is a body. So what we're really doing in the index, we're just putting stuff in this one and we're putting stuff in this one. And by the way, those ones are defined in this base one. Again, please go restudy it. We did it. It's right in the major templates. We usually put the base in the one that belongs to the applications. This is the applications. So we usually in the applications, we always put the templates and the base. This is the right place to put the base. If you double click on it, this is quite extensive. You'll see there's a lot of stuff. We will go over it as time goes by, but we don't really care much in the first certificate, okay? We want to get the foundation and later on we deal with more sophisticated stuff. The key point is this is HTML. We make blocks inside that we can override them. This is some sophisticated stuff. We don't care, But we can find, by the way, blocks here. If you have a good eye, you can see that those blocks are defined right here. This is for the application. This is for the sub applications. So it will put them in the right place. So we did the hard work already for you. Okay, and honestly, if I were you, I wouldn't waste too much time to understand the base. But do understand that when you write something in those one, in the extended one, like here, you're overriding. And when you put something here, you're overriding whatever is there. Black body, by the way, You can see black body must be here in the base. Let's look at the body. Here we go. We do have a black. By the way, if we don't put anything, it will just say, welcome to the Cert project. Okay. But if I will, by the way, by putting this one here, okay, or let me close that one. That's okay. This one really just say, don't put anything there. It's cleaning it up totally. I could have done something here, by the way, if you like, and just for demonstration purposes, and I will move on. I'll just go to here and put something like this. Welcome to the billings. Base page. Intentionally, I put the word base. Okay. Now, if I go to the index and I'm extending this one, I can remove this one. If I remove this one, see what will happen. What will happen is that instead of saying app today, it will say something else altogether. It will say, welcome to the Cert billings base page, because it's like a waterfall, you know? This one is extending this one. So if I'm putting a block here, this block is replacing this block. And that's really what you should know now. This is the most important one that you should know in this level, okay? And if this one is extending this one, I can put another block to replace it. And what I'm telling him, replace it by several empty rows, and then I want you to write, welcome to the billings app today. So instead of getting this title, it will override it and will give me a different title. And you notice it put some lines here, okay? That's all. I don't really want to spend too much time on that today. And Brenda and Daniel on Monday will go over that a little more. Today, I really want to focus on the structure of these billings, starting from the database. Now that we know how we got to this template, I want to start spending time, okay? Not on this page, which is doing nothing really, but on the other elements, okay? So let's start. Refresh. We have in the main page doing nothing, but we do those, have those. When I click on this one, I'm going all the way to the customers. You see that? Okay, what is the customers? Let's look at the URL customers. It's this function. This is this view. Or this view. Look also simple. Doesn't look really complex, but it does have something special. Really, really special. Let me do it a little different, okay? If you can tell, it's really the same structure as the other one. This one is just giving me another template, and we're gonna look at that template. But in here, we added something. I usually really don't do it this way. This really, you can do it later on when you already know what you're doing. Many times, what I usually do, okay, in a real project, I just make a variable here, call it customers. I tend to put an underscore after it, and I do it equal. What it does, I'm going to explain in a second. And then I take this variable and put it here. Frankly, I did nothing. But it's a good habit to work organized. For me, it's easier. Why? Whatever I'm transferring here, I always like to put it as a Python variable. Customers underscore, it is a Python variable. What does it include? It includes whatever this command does. And I'm going to talk about it in a second. And whatever this wants, it goes to Python variable. And that Python variable, I'm transferring to the template as a new variable called customers no underscore. So inside the template, it will be known as customers. That's my habit, the way I usually work. And I will show you examples later on in a real project, okay? Now, what is this one? This one should be familiar, by the way. We have used it before. I remind you, okay? I'll remind you from the to-do application. That's why I said I love this to-do application. To-do application, if you look at the index, this one I just made for just to demonstration purposes. If you look at it, it has very similar command right here. You see that? By the way, the truth of the matter, I wasn't very good. I usually like to write it this way. This is the way I really should. That's the way I usually do it. I probably copied it from somewhere. Okay, I made a Python variable. This time, if you remember, this is the table that has all the comments we make. I pull all the rows from that table. And after I pull all the rows, I send it to the index. And here we learned, we saw how does it do it. Let's look at what we're doing here. We're doing similar things. We're going to a table called customers. We haven't looked at that yet. We're going to in a second. And after the customers, we use the objects, which we know it goes with a table definition. And if I put all, it will give me all the rows in this table. So I take all the rows in this table and push it to the template. One more time. I pull all the rows from the table customers. I give it a name in Python called customers underscore. That Python variable, I change it to a variable that's going to be in really the Jinja language. And Jinja going to use it inside the template. Okay, but before I go to the template, let me go and talk about this table. It should be defined. And where is it should be defined? Like we did in the to-do, it's going to be in the model. Like we did in the to-do in the models, we define the tables. We should do the same things in this application billings. We will use the models to define our tables. By the way, we're going to define two tables. I'm going to talk about customers for now. And later on, we'll talk about the item, and you'll see they are so similar, okay? So let's see, how did we define the customers? And then I will get back to this one, remind you that this one is putting all the rows in that table. Let's go and look at the models. In the models, we have a lot of tables. We are interested only in the first one for now, okay? So let me even close those ones so they won't confuse us, okay? And I'm going to talk about this one. By the way, for your own purposes, you can ignore this one. I'm going to put it back in a second. You can ignore all of those for now. Okay, I will talk about them in a second. They are extremely important. But from the database point of view, this is a definition of the table. What am I doing in the definition of the table? I always inherit from the models.model, just like what we did in the to-do application. Remind you, we did very similar item, 2 columns. Remember I told you that behind the screen is adding another column ID. Don't forget, I defined 2, but it really actually make 3. You always add another column automatically. But see how clean it is. This is the way I define a table. Very simple. I start with a class, give it a name. Here I call it items. I inherit for models.model, always for you. You're not dealing with multi-language now, so you don't have to worry about it. If you use multi-language, you inherit from a different one. For now, you always work, forget about languages, that's for more advanced topic. Now, I define 2 columns here. How many columns did I define here? Anybody can help me? Anybody? Anybody? I have a good point here to make. That's what I'm asking. Anybody wants to help me? I would like to hear you guys. Go ahead, guys. Any volunteer? Leah, anybody? How many columns did I define here? Anybody hear me? Mildred, Megan, Daniel, Wenda, Salah, anybody? Can hear you guys. You might want to activate your microphone. Anybody hear me, by the way? Hello? Can't hear anybody. Can you hear me, guys? Megan? Mildred?
Yes, yes.
Oh, good. So how
Yes,
many columns am I defining here in this table? What does every row here does? Every row does what? What do you say, Mildred? Can you help us? Brenda, can you help us? Is Brenda with us? Daniel? Megan? I don't know if there is. Hi, Liam. Can you hear me, Liam? No, I think your microphone is not working. Anybody? Well, I need a volunteer. I can continue. I must have a volunteer. It's okay to be wrong, by the way. That's just perfect. So what do you say, Daniel? David, what do you say? How many columns do I have in this table?
I would think we have 3 columns.
Correct. Beautiful. Correct. But I was unfair. I kind of tried to confuse you. In here I said there is 2. That's true. There are really only 2. And automatically Python add a 3rd column ID. Okay? And here I say, and you're absolutely right, there are 3 columns. My question, the second question, I will answer it, okay? Because it's not a fair question. Okay, I will answer it. We are defining 3, but the first one is a very special way of defining a column. This one and this one, it's just nothing but a text. I'm going to write a text. And every row I will be able to put in every column up to 50 characters. Okay? Can I skip and don't put anything? Yes. That's why I put null true. If I put null true, that means this column, if somebody don't put his first name, the computer is going to say it's okay. But the first one, pay attention, I really defined it very different. And I use something very special called mothers.autofield1. And that autofield, I told him it is a primary key. True. That means not only you fill it up, I don't want you to add a new column by the name ID. That means if in the to-do, I didn't use that special, you see, we had a date, we have a text, but we didn't really use auto field or field. So it automatically will add a column ID. On the other hand, here, I'm telling him, you know what? Don't make me a favor. I will handle it myself. I do want you to put automatic field, and I want it to be the primary key, meaning fill it up, put 1, 2, 3 for every row. But this time, I don't want you to call it ID. I want you to call it customer number. So why did I do that? I just didn't want the computer to name my index column to be ID. I want it to be customer number. It makes more sense to me. So that's really the way you're telling Django, don't add another column. Please add automatic column by the name of customer number. So customer number is like your ID column. So in the end of the day, we will have only 3 columns here, not 4. It's not going to add the ID to the table. It's very important, extremely important when you get to more advanced planning of a real program. Okay, that's one thing. Number of columns, we have 3 columns, first name, last name, and a number for a customer. Let's see what other things we erased. We erased a lot of very important things. Let me deal with the first one. By the way, what it does, it says, it's allow you when you look at the table, you want the table to be organized. And you tell him, you know, when I see the table or whenever I use the table, I want you to organize the rows according to the customer number. Customer number 1 will be first, the second will be second, and etc., etc. Ignore this one for now. This is more advanced stuff, especially this one. I'm going to ignore for now. This is real advanced one, and we'll get to that later on. But for now, we will ignore this one. Okay? We just focus on this one. By the way, it says organize the rows by the customer number. Start from the 1, 2, 3, 4 up to the last one. Here, I will teach you a trick. You know, as you add customers, their customer number will be higher. So the new customers have a higher number, and they will be in the bottom of the table. Is that correct? Is that correct? What do you say, Daniel? What do you say, Liam?
Yes, doctor.
So the last customer will be in the bottom of the table. Is that correct? What happens if I want to put the last customer to be first? Very simple. You tell them, do the inverse, put a minus here. It will reverse the order. It will put the higher number first. Very good trick. Remember it, okay? When you start working, it becomes to be really handy. I use it a lot. In fact, I just used that today. I download prices from the exchange, and I want to put the last price to be first, not the last price like what's happening right now to be the first, not the one that was an hour ago or 2 hours ago. So I put a minus there, and that's reverse the order automatically. That's a beautiful, and there's other things we can use for this one, and we'll see later on as we expand. But this is one very quick one, and later on you will learn a lot of things that you can do the same things and more sophisticated stuff as we go along. This one I'm going to skip for now because it's really hard and advanced. So let's leave it alone. This is the only things that I'm going to cover for now. It's what does it do? This is a function that I strongly recommend you add to every table you create. It's a very weird function. It's a function, you see, how do you know it's a function? Because it starts with the word diff. But why is it weird? Because it has a weird name. Underscore, underscore, str, underscore, underscore, in parentheses, self. Very weird. There's a lot of them in Python. Python makes it for special purposes. And this one has a very special, unique purpose in Python. It makes it that every time I refer to a specific row, I can see it will give me the first name, it will add a space in the middle, and it will put the last name, meaning you get the first name, space, last name. I will demonstrate it to you in a minute, okay? But this is really a beautiful way that if I look at a row in a table, I don't have to add another column in here that will show the full name. This could be really the full name, by the way, okay? This is very cool, and it works for every table. And I recommend you get the habit of doing it, okay? Make the habit of doing it. Later on, it becomes to be like natural to you. I use it so much in real life projects, okay? This one I will come back. So what did we see here? We have a customer table, we have 3 columns, and we have some way to show every row could be represented by first name and last name, okay? After we did that one, you know what we do after we define a table? We have to run. Anybody remember? Anybody?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, what are the commands we need to?
We have to run the migration.
Correct. Make migrations. And after we run, by the way, I shouldn't have because I already have done it. By the way, I changed something. So probably, yeah, I have another project that I'm working on that one. So leave that one, ignore it. But really, usually shouldn't really have anything. And the next one, it really is in a different project. So you don't have to worry about it. The next one is migrate. And since this table already exists, it shouldn't really do anything. So it will do something for this one, okay? Which is not in this project, okay? You can tell it's in the BizLink. It's a different project, okay? Anyway, now that the tables are created, I can run the server again. And the table is in the database. Now I can do whatever I want with this table. Questions so far. Stage number 1, in any application, you must define your tables. Very important, okay? Let me stop the video a little bit. I want to look at you guys, okay? How you doing, Leon? You doing okay with the tables? Can you hear me, Liam? I think sometimes your microphone, I think, is off. Yeah, Liam, how is you're cool on building up a table? You can, if I tell you, make me a table with 5 columns, one of which will be the index, and I want the index to be Liam's friend's number. You can do it, because it will be just like the customer. You put it autofill, and in parentheses, you put that it's a primary key. And you know me by now, I can't remember all of that by heart. I really don't. What I many times do, I remember that in the billings, I did use it. I just go there and copy the field and change the name. So copy from yourself. It's hard to remember all of that. But now you do know, you have a place, okay? You have a place, you already know how to make a primary key. Just copy it from here. Everything's inside, doesn't change. You just give it a different name. If it's Liam Friends, I will call it Liam Friends number. And that will be my primary key. Everybody got it? How are you doing, Daniel and David and Darlene? Darlene. That's a French name. I would have to get used to it. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well.
So you can build up a table, make a table easily now.
We'll have to go over this a couple of times. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
But at least next time you see it, you don't get scared. You know that at the end of the day, I have to define a class. I put 1 row for every column. And then there is this weird function. I never remember the way I write it. So I copy it from another table and just change the name. I just change what it's inside. That's what I always do. I can't remember too much. So don't be hard on yourself if you forget. But what I always do, when I try to do something and I forget, and honestly, sometimes it's so complex, I forgot what I did. So I go back, okay? I go back to where I did something. I forgot how this one should be written. So what I do, I just copy it from it. Let's say I want to do this one for the invoice. I take this one, let's see if in the invoice I did it. I don't even remember. Yeah, I did in the invoice. Let's see if I did it in the item. Let's say if we have one that we didn't do it. No, we did. You know what? I can, you know, I know that I can combine the number to the item. Okay. Let's say if here I did something. I think here I did. Most likely I did. Oh, here I didn't do it. You see that? I want to add the same weird, very weird function. It is weird. I can't remember it. Honestly, I don't. So what I many times do, I copy from another one of them, okay? And take it, okay? Take it and put it right down here. But it's, of course, not gonna work because this one doesn't have first name, but it does have item, it has quantity, head unit price. And I will take the advantage this time, let's delete those ones. See, I will get better as I go along. So what I will do, I will just write item. I can write here item. You probably will not like me. And I will teach you as you go along. Item has a foreign key to another table, really. This one goes, the invoice, and I will teach you. Don't worry about it now, okay? The only things I wanted to tell you is you could use, or you can use quantity. Quantity would be easy. But again, I have to warn you, it will give me an error, it will hurt me. And that's maybe a good place to talk about it a little bit. By the way, quantity here in this table, it is a column that has a whole number. How do I know it's whole number? Because it's integer. Integer means make me a column of a whole number. Now, if I write it here, by the name of the function, you can tell it's returning a string. So if I put it that, it will give me an error. To make it work, only once you have to know that, and then you will see you repeat yourself over and over. Use a function called string in Python. Now it will work. It will take the number quantity, it will turn it from a number to a string, and this invoice will be presented by the quantity. That's very stupid way, but at least you got the idea. I many times do, okay? I don't use really the quantity, I will take something else. I will go to another table, like the item, and the item has a link. By the way, item is a table. This item is referred to another table. We'll talk about it. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. And the item does have something that it's a string. You can say it's a character. So if I do that one, that will be just fine. Now this record is presented with this one. But forget about what I did here, okay? That's not the important. The important is copy from another place. You got it? You got it? Don't try to remember. It's hard to remember. I don't remember, honestly. Many times, I even forget. Sometimes I get the error. I do quantity here. I do quantity, I get an error, and I forgot why I'm getting an error. But since I have so much experience already, I put it this way, I get an error. And I look at the error the first time, I don't really know why I'm getting an error. And oh yeah, I forgot to put a string. It is an integer. I should really put a string around it. So you do it once, you get that error 5 times, believe me, the 6th time, it's immediately will come up to your mind. That's the way it works. So don't be hard on yourself. If you forget, that's totally reasonable to forget. There's so much. Secondly, you get an error, don't be hard on yourself. It takes time. Just these simple things, this error, I made it so many times until I figured it out. Now I never make that mistake. Well, I do, but less than I used to. I put a string around it. Took me a while to really even discover that this is the error I get, okay? I didn't have this problem in the other one, by the way. So I'm just gonna remove it because really this table doesn't really need that one. When we talk, this is a very special table. We talked about it, okay? Very, very special. By the way, whoever participating in my course And I recommend to each one of you, at least in the series we're building up now, we're building up a very special series. It's going to be about 10 videos. We're putting it open to the public so people can learn about Academy City. It's a little hard, but one session I will teach, I think it will be number 9, 8 or 9. I will talk about design of database. It's a very special topic. Honestly, I made a video once. I have more than 8,000 viewers just on that topic. Half an hour. I'm going to teach you deeper. One of which is really talking about that invoice table. It's a special table. Designing a good database. It's by the way, it's a professional. Okay? And I'm going to make sure you'll be good. You will get to that deeper in certificate 3, 4, I should really say 3. When you get to the real projects, you will deal with business intelligence. Okay? But I will give a lecture on how business intelligence is so important to people that deal with finance. So I give a lecture, special lecture. It will be really hard for you to listen to it because you miss a lot of the knowledge. But professional programmers, professional accountant, finance people should know that. Unfortunately, they don't. Some of them do. And that's why I get so many views, because many of them want to learn the topic. It's a very advanced topic, but you're just starting. So we get there. Don't worry. Step by step. Can't get everything in one day. The most important things, honestly, don't be afraid to make mistake. When I ask question, throw an answer. Don't be worried. If you're wrong, it's good. It means that's what I was when I started. That's okay to make mistakes. It's okay. That's the way you learn. Don't be hard on yourself. And that's like an ocean. It really is like an ocean. So if I throw you in the middle of the ocean, tell you, swim to Uganda, no way you can find Uganda in your life. Even if you live there for the rest of all your life. Because it's hard to get from the middle of the ocean to Uganda. That's really what we're dealing with. And the good one is the one that understands what I just said now. Keep working hard. Eventually you get really good. Okay? Next time I'll tell you a joke about that one, but not this time. Today I want to get that stuff done. Okay, so this is really a special table. We'll talk about it later on. I'm going to continue talking about this one. I'm done really. I focus on the meta that allow you to sort the stuff. I talk about that you make 3 columns, and I talked about the fact that you can have a special function. This one I'm skipping for today. I'll talk about it next time. What I would like now to do is go back to the view. Now that we have the table, now we can understand what this one does. Okay? We have a table customer. By the way, we're importing it from the matters. You see, the matters, that's the place I defined it. I want to use it in the view. That's why I do the import. Otherwise, I cannot use it. In fact, I'm importing 2 tables. Okay? But I'm going to, for now, just use the customer. So I take the customer, I put a dot, objects.all, and I told you last time, if you want to get all the rows in a table, this is the command. Take the name of the table, put objects.all, and we will talk about it more as we go along. For now, for this certificate, this is perfect. Okay? So I take all the customers, put them in this variable, and this one I transfer to the template. So this is very important, just for your curiosity. I'm going to do something so you will understand what I meant before. I will do print. By the way, do it. Please do. And don't worry if you don't understand what you're getting. I want to print what these all rows look like. Okay? So that's what I did. By the way, I refresh the screen. I'm going back and refresh it. By the way, I will not see anything different here. But when I refresh it here, it's activating that view. Okay? So let's go back and see what it prints there. It prints something in the bottom. Everybody see it? It printed something in the bottom. you can say it says customer. Everybody see in the bottom this line in blue?
Yes, doctor.
Great. So this one is because I wrote, print for me, please. What is this? You told me this is all the rows. Can you print and show it to me? Here we go. I am showing it to you. By the way, you can tell it says it's kind of a weird way that Django is using, but you can figure it out. It says customer and it tells you Jimmy O'Mara. Everybody see it? That's the first customer. The second customer is Mildred, Yuji. And the third one is Michael. And the fourth one is John. But see, did you notice it has the first name and last name? And the reason I did it, because when I define the model, I define this special function, the string. And do a little bit. Let's put a dash, 2 dash, in fact, or 3 dash so you can see. Now I'm going to run it again. Okay? And going to print it again. And you will see how it will look like now. Okay, Iran, it doesn't really show anything here, but here it does. Can you tell what the difference between the two? Now we put 3 dash in the middle. Do you see that? Guys?
Yes, doctor, we can see it.
Why did he do it? Because in the model, where's the model? Here we go. In here, I put 3 dashes. I really don't need it. I just did it for demonstration purposes. So every time I get the data from the table, Django is very smart. It goes to this function and see if it can represent that customer according to this function. That's what it really does. So let me just put it back and we'll see it again and again. So over time, it will look much more clearer. I didn't want it to do a loop inside. I didn't want to get you confused. So I left it alone, okay? I left it alone. I can make a loop, but we will later on. Maybe next time, okay? I'll make a loop here and you can see what I meant before, okay? But for now, we have all the customers. We're pushing that to the template. Let's see what this template is all about. Remember, this template should be in the DBillings, which is under the templates, which is under the project, the application, templates, DBillings, and it should be right under there. So what it is, customer list. Double click on it. Here we go. This is really the template. So what do we have in the template? Should be a little more familiar now. We have a lot of things. My God, it looks scary. And you know me by now, don't you? What do I always do? I delete everything. Am I right?
Yes, doctor.
So that makes me, at least I don't get lost. I never saw this page. And many times I do it in real life, by the way, honestly. I go back to here and refresh. This is the page, or I go back to the main, I go back to billings, and I go back to customers. Nothing. There's only welcome to the trade billings based page. And the reason I'm getting this one is because this page is extending the best billings. And we already saw in here that this is really the title that I put it in the body. This is exactly what I see here. I don't want to see that one there. So let's go step by step, okay? Let me, by the way, I will put it in a text file so I don't lose the code. Many times I do that too. Many times I lose the code and I don't want to lose it. So let's go step by step, okay? Let's see what we have in the code. First of all, what this one does, before I will go to the body. Okay, what this one does. So let's go back to, where is the template? Here we go. If I put this one, what is it going to do? By the way, if you look up here, it says billings. Everybody see it says billings on the top?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, so now I don't want it to say billing. I want it to say something else. I want it to say customers. That's why we have this block of title. And that's the place we kind of overriding whatever we have in this template. In this template, the title is billings. We don't want that. So that's why we're overriding it. How do we do that? We simply put a title here. So let's try that. Again, refresh. And bingo, you see the title have changed. Beautiful. So that's one thing. That's why we use blocks in templates. Let's move on. The next things. Let's look at this one. What this one does. See, everything has a purpose there. That's why it's so beautifully designed. Okay, what is one supposed to do? By the way, this is the toolbar. It's adding another button. It's going to add a button called billings. Let's look at the way it looks like now before I refresh. There is no buttons billings here. You see that? To add it here to that, that's why I added that one. If I refresh now, you see, I got the billings. That means this is what this one does. By the way, this is a very good way to study. Don't be afraid. Do just what I did. I copied the whole code and I start playing with it. Do the same things. So what? You destroy the whole thing. You call Brenda or Daniel or Mildred or anyone, they will help you to put it back. Play with it. Don't be afraid. Okay? That's what the second part. So here, this is change the title. This is add to the toolbar another button. And we'll talk about it later on again. Okay? We'll talk about it. Don't worry about it. I want to focus on the body. Let's look at the body and how is that one works. If you see, I have a block called body. Let me copy the whole thing and I'm going to delete pieces. Okay, as I go along. I just want you to feel comfortable. Okay, I'm going to delete the whole things inside. So you feel comfortable. I'm going to delete the whole things inside. Okay, there's nothing. There's only one thing there. It says title. You see that?
Yeah.
Anybody want to guess what is that? Why does it say title? You know what? Let me delete that one too. I don't want anything. I just want to write my name, Amos. And let's refresh the page. Again, what's going to happen is whatever it's inside is going to be replaced by my name. Small one because I just didn't put a header, nothing. So putting this block, it's allowed me to change anything in the middle of here. That's really what it does. So now let me go back. I want to explain this one, okay? Before I continue. This is a variable that's coming from the view. Again, it's a variable that's supposed to come from the view. And when we did it, we were lazy. We shouldn't really have done the way we. Let's look at the view. I don't see. Oh yeah, I do. Look at that. You see, guys? There is a wall. No, this is in the item. My mistake. Sorry about it. In the customers. In fact, here I did it good. Here I made a mistake. I'm not transferring a variable called title. Let's put it. I'm going to make a variable called title. And this one, as you know me by now, I will call it title underscore, but I have to define. So I'm going to define it right here. Title underscore equal. How do you want to call this page? Training to build customer page. So what's going to happen now? This variable in Python, I repeat, this variable is in Python. I'm transferring it to the template by the name title, not title underscore. In Python is title underscore. In Jinja, which is the template code, it is in, I call it title. Therefore, when I go to the template back and I put it in this kind of weird way, Ginger used double quotation. So what I'm supposed to see here, it's really just what I wrote here. So this one, defined in here, is gonna go to here, and from here is gonna go to the template. In the template, I'm gonna use it and show it. So let's see if I was right. I don't want to see Amos anymore. I want to see what I wrote there. Let's refresh it. Yeah, I did. You see that, guys? Very cool. So in fact, now I can play. By the way, that's why you need to know some HTML. I can make it as a big title. I can make it not really very big. I can make H3 or H2, kind of a little bigger, not too big. And I put the title in a little bigger. That's all what it does. This is HTML, by the way. So let's go and look at it. Refresh. And beautiful. But pay attention. I wrote that type that in the view. That's a very important point. You will see as we progress in the future. Okay, as we progress in the future, you will see how important is this point. Because many times I might take titles from a database, from totally the internet. And then you will see how powerful is this structure. So now it looks like what a stupid it is. Because what could I have done instead of doing it this way? Why do I need it here? Almost, it's just driving me nuts. I would have done it simply like that. And that will work too, by the way. Almost, I don't need all of that garbage. Why are you making life complicated? Just erase that one. I don't need it here. And see, it will work just the same. I don't need, see, simple. Go back to the template. Just put it here and it will work just fine. So almost, why are you making, look, it will look the same. See, nothing, I refreshed it. Exactly the same. So why are you making life complicated? Now there's a reason. The reason is, if I want to have this one changing, let's say, I wanted to say good morning in the morning, good afternoon, you cannot do it this way. The right way to do it is the way I did it originally. I put it as a variable. I put it here in the view as a variable. Now, for now, it looks like stupid way. This one could come from another place. Just remember that sentence. It doesn't make a lot of sense to you now, but in the future, you will see. Okay? For now, you don't really care. Definitely, what something we have learned today that is extremely important, we're taking a whole information in a table, we're transferring it to the template, and that's what I'm going to talk about now. Okay, so let's go back to there, and I'm going to skip a button here first, but I'm going to go and show you the code. I'm going to skip the first button first. Okay, I will do it step by step so you don't get lost. Okay, I'm going to start taking this part up to here. Don't worry about it. I will explain everything, but it's good to go step by step. Otherwise, you get lost. Okay. By the way, TD has to end up with this complementary. If you go and do it by that, you will see automatically put whatever it's supposed to be there. I will do it primitive. This is really an empty table. It has a header, and that is HTML. Please go and look at the website I mentioned before. Go study about table a little bit, okay? This is really from this website of W3 School, excellent one, okay? And I'm making a table inside the div. A div is just a block, really, in the page. It takes a block. If I want to make another block, I can just make another div. I can write my name Amos. That would be a different block of code. Okay. By the way, I can put another HR. It will make a line there in the middle. dividing between those two blocks. A lot of things. You cannot study it in one day. Over time, you get better and better. So don't be hard on yourself again. So, but I have a title here, and I'm trying to teach you a little bit how a table being constructed. A good way is start with this one, start with a table, ignore everything's inside. Okay, doesn't matter. I really should even take that one for now out for a reason. I'll get back to that. I have a table ending up with a table. Inside it, I have a T head. It's a header. That means this is the first row in the table. And then the body is empty. So I'm not going to have really a table. I'm just going to have a title. The first column. Here we go. You see? I do have only one row. I have a line and another D. I don't really care about that line. I don't care about emos. So I'm going to delete them. I don't care about those guys. I want to focus on the table. So let's refresh again. And I start building a table, but this is a stupid table. It only has the first row. I put the titles in the middle. Okay, if you go here, I have the header, TR, it's a row, and each one of those is a column. It's like kind of a column going to be. So if I wanted to make a primitive table, has nothing to do with our data, I will start with a TR here, just like in the top. Let me even move it a little bit to the right, so you can see this is going to be another, it's going to be really another row, but I'm going to make a stupid row with nothing in it. I'm going to write one, and I will copy this one for 5 times. Let me write here 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that's right here one more, just 4. Now, what am I going to get? I'm going to get a table that has the first row, and there's another row with those information. And you can tell, if I refresh it, I am getting 2. You see, this is under the first one, this is under the second one, the third one, blah, blah, blah. You see that? That's the way we make up, and I can add more and more rows, as many as I want. What is beautiful things to do? That's the power of database. I don't want to do it this way. That's not smart. I'm going to do it first. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to put a TR. And inside the TR, I would like it to be a smart table. What do I mean by that? I'm going to do a loop here. By the way, I will take it from the code. So you will see, I will build it up step by step with you. If you look at the code I just deleted, you have here something called for customer in customers. Is looping around. Okay, is looping around. What do I mean by that? And by the way, I wish I didn't delete it. Let me, you know what? I think I did this exercise with you once. I do it again. Okay, I'm going to loop here. And I have to close it, yeah? By the way, if you look at the code, I'm closing that loop at the bottom, but I'm doing a lot of interesting stuff. We'll get to that in a minute. But I have a closing right under the TR, and before above the T body and above the TR. What that means is I have 7 rows inside. Oh, sorry. You know what? Let me do it this way. It the same. And 4. In another word, I'm really looping around, but I'm not really using the data from the database. I'm just looping. So I will get several rows here. This one will repeat itself as many rows I have in the customers table. For customer in customers. See the S, that's exactly the way we named it in here, customers. That's the way I take it. Everybody got it? So he is going to make a stupid table, but at least interesting. If I refresh it, he's repeating every time something else. But that's not what I really want. I would like to see the name of the customer right here. Am I right? Is that correct, guys? I don't want to get 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. I would like to put something there. And that's what we'll do next time. Okay? Next time, we're going to continue from this point. And next time, I'm going to teach you how you really replace this one to say something else. And you will find out that it really is very, very simple. The simpler things, I will just do that and we'll conclude the session. I just write customer. Pay attention, singular. Customer refer to this one. And I'm just going to run it and see what happens. Interesting. Here, I put it in the first one. I should have already put it down. Let's put it in the right place. So it look like I should really, and let's reverse the order, those two. Okay, now it will be in the right place. Second column. Oh, very interesting. You see customer name is already came out. So beautiful, isn't it? No effort almost. By the way, with that we'll conclude. Anybody can tell why did I got a full name? I just wrote customer. Why did I got a full name? Anybody? Guess, it's okay to be wrong. Anybody? What do you say, Leah? What do you say, Mildred? What do you say, Brenda? Danny, David? It's okay to be wrong. It's very hard to be right, honestly. If you be right, I'll be very surprised. It's the first time you learn it. And I haven't said it, but just try to guess. Guess, it is okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong again. Pay attention. Customer refer to what? A row in the table. I didn't really say, what do I want to see from the customer? I just wrote customer. And here is the beautiful things I mentioned before. When we built the model, we made this interesting function. So it's automatically activated. It put the first name and last name together and showed it. That's why we wrote that weird function. So if I want just to say, who is this customer? You can just use the name right in there. And it will automatically go to that function, put the first name and last name of that customer and show it to me here. Since I'm looping, this is the loop. It's going to do one row for every one of them. Okay? Next time we'll learn other things. Okay? I think this is enough for one day. Is that right? Megan?
Yes.
I think it's enough for one day. Please, I beg you, watch the video at least 3 times. Don't do it alone. Do it with a friend. Do it with another person. That's the way Brenda, Michael, every one of them there, Mildred studied. I really remember it. Is that right, Mildred? How many times you had to go over it? Mildred, how many times you had to go until you finally got to the nice level you are into there? You can ask her. She will tell you. Million times. Is that right? I went over 5 millions until I really understood it. I'll be honest with you. Okay? Don't give up. Eventually, it gets easier. And then you deal with very sophisticated stuff. But here's the building blocks. The first course is always the hardest. When you finish the third course, you say, oh, the first one was really easy. That's what happened always in life. Okay? But in the beginning, the first course looks so hard, and it is, because it's all new to you. Okay? By the end of the day, you will get beautiful application. You can't believe. When you get to the project certificate 4, you see the stuff that we do, real life projects. Okay? Then you really understand that all of that was worth it. Okay? Okay, thank you guys. Questions? Brenda, you're doing good. You're gonna go over all of that stuff on Monday. By the way,
Yes.
Monday, everybody has to participate. I will be on Monday by myself. Okay? I want to see your progress. Okay, I'm not going to interfere. I will let Brenda and Daniel run the show. Okay, so I'm going to be like a student. But I want everybody to participate. Monday is important as Wednesday, because that's your chance to go over it one more time. Okay, thank you guys. Liam, you doing good? Tomorrow, 11 o'clock, we're doing a recording of the component for Django CMS plugin. It's a very advanced topic. We will use JavaScript, and you're more than welcome to participate. At least you know where it's going. That one, you will get to that level by the end of certificate 2, and then you get back to it toward the end of certificate 3. That's when you really hear about plugins and how to use them. But tomorrow I will do a recording just for the general public. So you're more than welcome to participate. Okay, have a good one, guys.